And the poem is called H2O GATE Blues. And if H2O is still water and GATE is still gate, what we're getting ready to deal on is the Watergate Blues.
Good afternoon. I'm John Armwood, and I'm back with another video on the Armwood Opinion channel. Please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and touching the bell if you'd like to hear more videos from me and look at some of the other videos I've been putting up. My last political video that I did by myself was about 3 weeks ago, almost a little over 2 weeks ago, and it was about Judge Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. And that was before his history of apparent or alleged history of sexual abuse of women and carousing, drunken carousing, was revealed. And I'd like to say a few things. First of all, it is not unusual for women to be afraid to come forward and let people know what had happened to them by men. The institutions, the colleges, even in those days, police departments were not that interested. That mentality of boys will be boys prevailed, especially among upper middle class young people. I mean, now if you were a 17-year-old, poor, and from a not so nice neighborhood, you were being charged as an adult for crimes when you were 17 years old. Crimes that were less egregious, like drug possession, than what Judge Kavanaugh allegedly did to at least 2 women. But there's been an attitude of letting young men of privileged backgrounds get away with this. We have to stand up now. We have one person on the Supreme Court who was credibly accused of sexual harassment, Clarence Thomas. We remember those of you who are old enough, I know I am, to remember the Anita Hill hearings of 1991. And her evidence was compelling to say the least. But at least then, Chuck Grassley and Orrin Hatch, who are both on the Judiciary Committee now, wanted to have a public hearing about it, and they wanted and called for an FBI investigation. Now, in 2018, they're opposed to both. What has changed? Well, control of the Senate is one thing that has changed. It is now controlled by Republicans. And the second thing has changed is that we live in an era where things have moved backwards in many ways. Yes, we've made progress, but we've also gone back. We have the most corrupt disrespecter of human rights president since Andrew Jackson was president in the early 1800s. In fact, when he came to office, Steve Bannon, I believe it was Steve Bannon, urged him to put a picture of Andrew Jackson behind the Oval Office, which to those of us who know history, was not surprising because of Trump's long history of racism, sexism, and sexual assault, admitted sexual assault. So it's no accident that Trump would not be bothered by Kavanaugh's behavior, because he engaged in similar behavior, if not worse, himself. This is attempted rape, folks. This is one of the most serious crimes in American law. And the president and Republicans in Congress do not even want to do an investigation. They're trying to rush this through. And let me point something else. The evangelical Christian community, led by people like Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son, has been wanting to push the Kavanaugh nomination through. Why? Their single issue politics is the abortion issue. They want to overturn Roe v. Wade. That's all they care about. They don't care about the fact that, if they're as Christians, Jesus Christ never talked about, according to the accounts in the Gospel, abortions. And yes, there were abortions going on at that time. They weren't done in hospitals. They were done what we would call back alleyway now. But he never talked about it. Kavanaugh also has promised to respect the presidency in a way that was not envisioned by our founding leaders. They expressed in the Federalist Papers a concept of the federal government that was an equal branch of government with Congress, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the courts. But no, Kavanaugh supports a federal government where basically the president is above the law. He's written journal articles discussing this. This is why he was picked, because President Trump is in grave danger of being formally named as an unindicted co-conspirator. His former lawyer, Cohen, has said in a public open testimony, has made reference to him as being an unindicted co-conspirator. So we have all these things playing out. But understand the big picture. The big picture is that the America First movement, which are pre-World War II Nazi movement in the United States, its most famous person involved was Charles Lindbergh. They have won. Robert Kagan, on September 23rd, wrote an opinion piece in the New York Times saying America First has won, and he's right. These issues like the court, immigration, isolationism, and protectionism that the Trump administration has been advocating and putting into practice have become, to our great chagrin, the law of the land. We, as Americans, must fight back. I called one of my senator's office today, Johnny Isakson, here in Georgia, telling him that I was very disturbed by his lack of moral courage to speak up and demand an FBI investigation into the claims made by Ms. Ford and the other woman. This is not something that will take a long time, but what is going on is that the Republicans are afraid that the Democrats might take the Senate. So they're trying to rush this nomination through. And remember, the last year and a half of President Obama's presidency, they refused to even have hearings on Judge Garland. So it's not just Trump. Mitch McConnell, who some of us unaffectionately call Frogman, Mitch McConnell, Trump's wife Melania, it didn't happen to. And she came here, worked illegally as a model. And she's here. So understand what's going on. We have to fight this. We have to come out and vote. We need to vote Democratic. This is an election that we do not need to withhold the vote from Democrats unless they have shown a specific reason why they need to be punished. So organize, organize, organize. I'm going to be working for the gubernatorial candidate here in Georgia and doing poll watching. My health is not the best. I can't do canvassing and things like that except on the phone. But I'm going to do my best. And I ask all of you to join me and do that. Remember, resistance is not futile. We have to fight back. That's how we bring meaning to our individual lives, by making a difference. And I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite quotes. The philosophers have analyzed the world in many ways. The problem, however, is to change it. Thank you very much.